How is that fraud? How is that fraud? Oh, what happened? Sound check. No sound. Oh, shoot. Okay. God, it did it again. All right. Hold on. Maybe I can refresh it. Hello? Can put a 1 if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear my voice. And I don't even know when I lost sound, so that's annoying. So I'll have to go back probably. Can y'all hear me? Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, John Paul. Okay. So let me go back because I don't know when it cut out. I don't know. I don't want to be repetitive, but I got to do it, I guess. Okay. So what I was talking about, and I don't know when it cut out, but I was talking about the Supreme Court case of McGirt versus Oklahoma, because I'm trying to give examples of why this has precedence, and it has actual current day precedence, which is really important for people to understand. Like, oh, this is a long time ago. Well, this nation is not even as, they don't even have the same standing as being first contact as like the Accomack and other nations. This nation is a nation that's a Trail of Tears nation, that's like a refurbished remix of so-called people that were in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, and Florida, right? So, hey, peace, Tebe. So, I mean, I never had sound. Oh, wow. Okay. So, anyway, thanks for letting me know. But yeah. So basically, they never had, they remained a reservation after, after Oklahoma became a state, and the court ruled in favor of Oklahoma. Now, what this case was is yucky. It's a nasty situation. I don't know. Can you hear me? Anyway, let me know if you can hear me, because I got a message saying my audio was removed again, and I'm just gonna stop using Streamyard because their audio is crap, and if they can't keep it together, can you hear me now? Okay. So anyway, so basically it's let me kind of move this around. But anyway, what it is it was an actual a guy was committing SC, SCX crimes, and he was committing these crimes, and then I guess his attorney was saying, oh, he's of the Muskogee Nation, and therefore this territory that he did the do on is the Muskogee Creek, so therefore he can't be charged in your Oklahoma court, right? Now here he is being really charged with some real ghastly things, mind you, and they found a way to say that the Indian jurisdiction stands, even after it's been since 1866 when they had a treaty with the United States. Okay. So what it is, it's what started out as a X crime case became a Indian jurisdiction case. And they actually found that, yes, it is still Indian territory, which actually was like an announcement to the world of like, all this territory is still ours. Woo! For the Muskogee Nation. In addition, it made woo for the Accomax and other people that are in Indians understand that, oh, wait a minute, our jurisdiction has power. We have the right. The states don't have the right to put all these things on us or do all these things to us, or actually do all the things that they do to our people. How about that? How about that? All the things that these states are doing to our people, they don't have the jurisdiction to be doing it. That's an implication of this case. It's very powerful. But if you don't understand the power of your Indian status, your power of your Indian rights, the power of your Indian law, you won't notice, right? I'm trying to share. Okay. I don't know. Let's go. All right. So here is the Muskogees, and like I said, they look, well, y'all didn't hear me, but they look, kind of melanated. Some of them look like they got some melanin, some Negro in their history. Some of them look straight Asian, but you understand that a lot of people claim to be us but ain't us, and a lot of people get either adopted, people get married into. It's a lot of ish that goes on within these nations, right? So but that's an image, of them from their website, whatever. Now, this is an image of a sister that somebody said was their great grandma that they put on the internet, that is of the Muskogee Nation of Alabama, right? And so some of them didn't go to Oklahoma for the Trail of Tears, just like everybody else. Everybody didn't take that trip. Everybody didn't ride that ride, okay? So there's that. In addition, but you understand that they aren't even, that's not even the other implication in my mind is that ain't even their original territory. That's just like government granted. It's not just like government granted. It damn well is government granted territory, right? That's not their original nothing. They didn't go out there and patent it, because like our chief went and patented daggone land in daggone Canada and Maine and Indiana and Illinois, and they're going, Ohio. Our chief, our ancient chief, right? So we actually, our territory, he marked it. He really essentially marked off our territory, right? But this is like the feds gave him this territory, and yet they are being protected from being prosecuted from the state. So the power is there. And our power is even greater than that, if you happen to be a first contact of a first contact nation. Just saying. Okay, so I just want to kind of get this out there. And let me get it big so I can see it. All right. So the first contact patent holds a higher degree of historical and legal supremacy. Why? Well, first of all, the agreement between the Muskogee is just like the U.S. government. Ours is like when your first contact, yours is a crown patent. Yours is predates the United States. Therefore, it has a higher level of authority than the United States does. You were before the United States, for God's sakes. Okay, and it gives the patents in those cases where you are first contact and you've got crown patents. The crown patents are like supreme legal instruments. They're supreme legal instruments. And the thing about it is, when they prosecute me, they've expected me to be ignorant. And it's the ignorance that gets us, because we don't know what to argue, and we don't know how to fight when you don't know what your rights and what laws do protect you. But because they thought I was defenseless, and they handed me lawyers who were going to refuse to give me a proper defense, even though they pledged to do so, they don't. They do not. They do not. They escort you to prison. They escort you to jail. They do not give you a proper defense. They under-defend you. They do not work it out. And I apologize to those few lawyers that actually put in the work and do what they do and do give a defense to their people. And there are some out there, I'm sure, they just not taking my case. They're not taking my 51 indictments, so it's just that. But yeah, but the majority of them, yeah, they're not. They're not. They're all working in allegiance to the courts that are trying to get you where they want you, which is not free. Okay, so they used my 2020 image from an Accomack Unity in the Community event. Mind you, it was a Unity in the Community event, which is so friggin' hilarious that they used that. They said 2020. They did admit it, over here. They did say 2020, but this is 2024, mind you. And they used this in their article, which is really defamation. Like, how in the world are you calling it fraud? My charges are 51 liens, malicious liens, or indictments. It's not fraudulent liens or indictments. It's malicious, which is, it can't be malicious when I'm actually not trying to hurt. I don't know the people. I'm not trying to maliciously or intentionally hurt any, harm or anyone. We're trying to lawfully, legally get back what's stolen. They're the ones that are malicious. They're the ones who are committing a crime. They're harboring stolen property. And we are trying to regain our stolen property. It is not a fraud. How can it be a fraud when in the article they actually state that, oh yes, she had a civil case of these land concern. Well, how is it a fraud if it was in the federal courts for years? How are the indictments, which are based on encumbrances, how could they be frauds? Let me get back off so I can see whether y'all saying you can't hear me or stuff like that. Can you hear me now? I hope you can hear me now. Can you hear me now? Okay, I hope so. I can only say, I hope so. That's all I can say. All right, so if you can hear me now, let me show you this, because it's just, I find it funny that they use the same image. I just find it. Okay, I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? All right, cool. All right, so. And we are here today in Indiantown Park, which is the first reservation in the nation, actually. And this is the original ground of it. And so we're here today to celebrate really unity in the community, because there's been so much. It's been a hard year for everybody. And I feel like we need to celebrate. We need to have unity. And I feel like the thing that's going to help people feel better is just that, coming together and realizing we have so much history in common, so much love in common, so many things we want for the future in common, and that coming together is the best thing we could do. And that's why the Accomax came up with, let's do unity in the community. Everybody, can kind of fall under that umbrella of it being indigenous to their homeland. And so with that, you really have to understand and just appreciate everything that we are, everything we bring to the table, all the rich history that's behind us. And it helps to prepare us, and it helps us to appreciate what we're going through today. And we really need to do that. We need to look at things in a bigger picture. We get so caught up in our little, and then staying in our little tubes, in our little houses, really makes it even worse. We get so microcosm like behavior and thinking, but really need to think about ourselves in a bigger way and look at ourselves over the span and look at the rhythm and the waves and the energy that's just coming every day, today, and then yesterday. It's all one. We're all together. I want to do a tree because a tree kind of lets people see, oh, yeah, there's a family. That's a family I recognize, or that's my family, or that's my name, that's my surname. And so they can kind of understand. And it kind of also tells who was on reservation, who was off reservation, things like that people aren't really familiar with that information. So it's like, it really kind of brings it into focus. We need that sometimes. Sometimes we just can't see it until we see it.
What are some of the names that have connections? We don't have to go
so many. I want to kind of mention some of the ones I might have missed. I kind of missed a couple of them. Gittins is on there. We also have Sample. We have, of course, Brick House and Spady and Smith and Small, very much so. That's not too many Smalls left, but there are Smalls, Hallets, Fitchett, I said Spady already. Weeks, Wims. I forgot Wims, but Wims, Weeks, Wims, Widgeon, and all of us are like really interconnected, and we're related in different ways, and cousins. Somebody's related to that one and that one, so it's just like a whole network of just like of just fabric of family. I love it. It's so interesting. I would say that the most important thing, and the thing that this whole weekend is about for us, is that love, and to reach across and reach back to each other. Like sometimes we forget about that relative or that neighbor or that coworker or that person that you see in the super. You never know. Sometimes, let me tell you, kindness, and it could be just a compliment. Sometimes we are selfish with the simplest of things, like a compliment. Like, oh, I really love that outfit. And you don't say it. But then if you say to somebody, just watch them light up. Just sharing that little simple goodness, it can make such a difference in people. You just don't believe. So this is what this weekend is about. It's about us learning to reach out, reach back, connect, and just, be the human side, the loving kindness side that all of this is kind of like disconnected us from. We need that. That is so important. It separates us from everything else. We got to be together. We have to kind of care enough to reach out, the care enough to make that kind word, that gesture, to share, to sow into a person. So that's what we're talking about this week. And that's what this week is about. It's about reaching back, reaching forth, and with no expectation. Just the fact that maybe you can pay it forward. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but maybe you will. Maybe we'll open up something in your heart that wasn't open before. That if we can do that, boom, you did amazing. We could change the world that way. Trust. How about that? Can we get that to grow a little bit? Can we get the trust factor to grow? Because when you have the trust, you're kind of like, oh, I trust you're going to be good to me. You're going to be good to you. I'm going to be good to you. And then until you prove me otherwise, let's think the best of each other. How about that? Can we do that? It's those simple things. That's the thing the academics are trying to encourage, to bring back. It's hard because the whole thing of like, that's mine. And if I don't, I'll lose everything. I'll have nothing. And I think in these desperate times of hoarding and, I need all the water and I need all the toilet paper, I think that it's hard for people to comprehend that the Indians that were here had a spirit of abundance. That's why they shared. That's why they said, come on. Oh, yes. Yeah, okay, here. Want me to help you? Want me to heal you? Want me to give you food? We had a spirit of abundance. There was no fear of lack. And guess what? They didn't experience it either. It's when you start thinking in lack that you experience it. We could just understand that what we have in abundance here and actually appreciate that, we could do so many great things and make opportunities for everyone, not just for the Acamax, because we're all in this together. We all have to work together. We all need everybody's skills. And that's what I tell them. I said, look, we have the whole world of skills. We might not know everything, but guess what? We got neighbors that do. Okay, we got people here, right, in Northampton know a whole lot of stuff that can help us. Okay, so we're not worried. That's what I told. I said, don't worry if you don't know. We got a lot of people that know here. We got a whole community of people that know all kinds of things, have all kinds of skills, and we don't have to worry because we're all in this together. We're all going to come together, and everybody's going to be able to benefit. We want to make opportunities for everyone. That's what it's all about. That's what you have to be about that. That's how you change. That's how you make things good, which it should be.
For Shore Perspectives and WESR Radio, I'm Kelly Gaskell.
So yeah, so they use this image, the same image from this interview for my 51, and they call me a fraud. Like, are you kidding me? Like, come on. I'm not a fraud. This is not fraud. So, hello, have you sunk that you would actually call someone a fraud and they're not even being charged with fraud. They're being charged with encumbrances. and that's not fraud. So, no, it's not. You know, not when you have a legitimate claim and that claim is declared and that claim is a land patent, which actually makes the people that are illegally occupying, possessing, and not occupying your land, those be the frauds, those be the criminals, those be the people in illegal possession, not me, not the Acamax. Having the absolute title of the land patent is derived from the U.S. Constitution. Hi. Peace and love to you too. It makes the United States of America a party of interest in any attack on that title in the courts of law. See, you can't bring me to court as a criminal claiming land without bringing the United States into it, because you, Virginia, don't have authority. You don't have authority to make me a criminal. Just like in the Muskogee Creek case, the ex-offender did not have authority to prosecute him as a criminal in Oklahoma. And like I said, that's not even their real homeland. Like, that's not, they're a politically reclassified a Native American nation. That's what they are. They're a political reclassification of people is what they are. A lot of the real Muskogees are still in Alabama, Florida, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. They're still there. They're still there. So the fact that this treaty, which is like an under treaty, it's an under treaty that the Muskogee nation of Oklahoma have, compared to this long-standing Crown patent, which is the most powerful treaty you could ever have, in comparison to what the Muskogee Creek nation has. I also want to bring up, I'm hoping you can all still hear me, because it's a good time to hear. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the Intercourse Act, right? And the Intercourse Acts of the actually, it's an Intercourse Act of trade and intercourse with the Indians to preserve the peace, right? So on this right side, if you're facing it, is a really fake map that Helen Roundtree made of the Indian town reservation that was the Genghis-Khan. Now you got to understand, the plat that they have is just a remnant of the reservation. The original reservation is probably about 8,000 acres, over 8,000 acres, the original. I mean, at the very least, it's anywhere from, it's got to be 8,000 acres. They claim, because according to their lies, it's got to be that. Starting in the year 1790, the first Congress attempted in vain to protect the rights of American Indian tribes. Well, why was it in vain? It wasn't in vain. It wasn't in vain. It's just that the Indians don't hold the Congress to the fire. The fact that you better uphold these freaking rights is because those who the United States deem as recognized are powerless, because their government politically created Indians. They don't really have the long-standing history. They don't have the bloodline. They do not have the patents. So they know that they are created, manufactured politically by the government. So they do not stand on the protection rights, even though the Oklahoma people stood on that protection for that ex-rated ex-criminal. Most of these recognized tribes do not stand on their rights and their intercourse rights, the Indian intercourse rights. They don't stand on these acts, and there's so many of them. Let me see. Let me get my little face off of here. Oh, it's gonna make my sound go down. Anyway, the acts regulated their relationship with the American Indians and sought to prevent the loss of American Indian land. That's what it was. It was to hold on to our land. It's because it really deemed that no one could purchase or lease American Indian land without the authority of the federal government. You cannot be a citizen and obtain American Indian land. It was to protect our land. We have powerful laws to protect our land. But if you don't know those laws exist, you can't fight them. And if you don't know those laws exist, you might think I'm crazy. But I'm not. It's that I know the law, and they try to ignore it. The daggone courts are trying to ignore it. The prosecutor, the judges, they're all trying to ignore these laws because they think no one's watching them. But that's why I will keep screaming until you all start watching them. Because once they know that someone's watching them be corrupt, they can be held accountable. Okay? That's why I will continue to do lives and to educate the public about these laws that do protect the Indian land and the Indian rights, because if you do not know that this exists, you do not know how corrupt these courts are. You will not know how corrupt these judges are, how corrupt these prosecutors are. You won't understand it. You'll think that I'm just being ridiculously out of my head, thinking magical thoughts, thinking things that cannot be, believing in things that cannot be. No, that's not the case. These things can be. You have to hold their feet to the fire, because the law that regulates them is intact, and there's lots of laws to regulate and demand that they do the right thing. But you have to hold them accountable, because they ain't gonna do it themselves. They don't care enough to do the right thing themselves. You see. So you see on this right side is a picture of Indians. If you don't know what Virginia Indians look like, look at the $10 bill from Richmond. The Confederate States of America $10 bill. Now, if that doesn't make you scratch your head, then you ain't thinking. We're going to deal with this on another day. We'll dive into the fact that why would our money have pictures of Indians on it and the Confederate States of America in Richmond? Why would that be in 1854? Yeah, but on the other side, you'll see that the Act 1 S8C313, Commerce with Indian Tribes, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3. Congress shall have power to regulate commerce with foreign nations and with the Indian tribes. With the Indian tribes. That means you can't buy land from them. It has to be regulated federally. You don't have those rights. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Yeah, that's a thing. That is a thing. I went over all my slides. Oh, I got more slides. Oh, no, I should have put that at the end. Oh, this is what I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the Non-Intercourse Act. It is very extensive. Not only does it regulate the purchase of Indian lands except as permitted by the federal government, but they were also prohibited in surveying or settling on Indian lands, punishable by a fine of $1,000 or a year in prison, right? We're talking about the 1700s, right? 1800s. Prohibited settlers from driving, from hunting or driving livestock along over Indian lands, punishable by a fine of $100 or 6 months imprisonment. Required issuance of passports, y'all, before traveling onto Indian country, punishable by a fine of $50 or 3 months imprisonment. Require a license of tribal traders who were permitted to trade on tribal land. This is all was regulation that we should be following, okay? In addition, the Non-Intercourse Act was renewed many times over. Many times. If you saw that first slide, it showed that the Non-Intercourse Act was like revamped. Well, this rendition of the Intercourse Act says that in 1847, they actually had people being in prison for imprisonment of whiskey sellers. But what I thought was very interesting was they had them pay annuities to the heads of Indian families and semi-annual payments to tribes of excessive funds by the whiskey sellers. Where did that money go? Huh? Look, Congress appropriated money to purchase the dilapidated trading post. I mean, the funds, the things that were supposed to be set aside and done that are not done are outrageous. And here they are getting mad at me for quit claiming what is rightfully ours, and you owe us like what, annuities and annual payments to tribes and all this other stuff that you're not doing. I mean, they're opening up this whole can of, this whole thing, where people don't realize what our rights are. And if you don't know, you can't fight for it. If you don't know, you can't demand it. But they got to understand, you're getting mad at me about a little thing such as we're claiming the land that's vacant that y'all have, are using as vacation, little extra they're going to change properties and stuff like that. And y'all are mad. Well, maybe the beachfront RV community is mad, but you would have no business being on that territory. You know that is sacred Accomack territory, having an RV camp over there on that area of the bay. You know you have no business over there. That should not be no Cherrystone RV place. That's ridiculous. And historically, the Cherrystone area is where the Accomack's main villages were located. Come on. Stop it. So you're mad because we are actually claiming what you've been blabbing about as history forever. Just thinking it's so cute. But now it's not cute when the real Indians come home to roost, literally, and say, get out, get up. You got to give this up. This is not right. You have duped us. You have lied to us. You've betrayed us. You're criminals. You are the criminals. So I'm not worried about this because you are the criminals. And what you're doing to me, that is, wow, that's terrorism. You're terrorizing me to try to scare me and to stop claiming what is rightfully ours. And you can't persecute an Indian for claiming their land. That's illegal. That has international repercussions against the United States and the state of Virginia. You can't do this. The Bible states in Hosea, it states that my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. It's now time for you to know. It is now time for you to know. And that's all I'm here. I'm here because it's now time for you to know, and I want you to know. So every step I take, I'll let you know what it is. And every move I'll make, I'll let you know what that move is. And I will let you know how to do what I do. I have no secrets, and I am open to sharing. For the people that want to know, stay tuned, because I'm going to let you know what you need to know. This is no time for playing. These people have been putting us under, keeping us draped under our ignorance long enough, distracted by dittiness and craziness. We can't be distracted by the strange things that are going on. And strange things are going on, and they're doing a lot to steal land and destroy people's territories out there, okay? They're doing a lot to steal more land. They're destroying the planet in efforts to steal what they can. And this has got to stop. There are a few evil actors. There are less evil actors than there were before. But it only takes a few evil people to do a lot of harm. But the good thing on that is that it only takes a few good people to do a lot of good. So there is that. So as much as they want to harm the planet and harm the people, it doesn't take many people to make a change and make things good for the many. So those that are willing, it's time to stand up. Those that are willing to know, it's time for you to know. And those that are willing to do, it's absolutely time for you to do. And those that happen to be of the Accomack elk, happen to be of those territories that are in our, under our confederacy, which spans from Canada, Nova Scotia, Maine, into New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, out to Illinois, Ohio, down to Kentucky, down through all the way out to the Mississippi, down all the way to Alabama. Skips South Carolina, however, and it is not part of the West Florida, or that territory. But if you happen to be of the Accomack Empire and know who you are and need to have connection with your people, you know where to find us. Well, that's all for this time. I wanted to make it brief and to the point, and I wanted to make sure that you guys understood a little bit more about the laws that protect us and the laws that allow us to do the things that we are to do, and that these people, they call you a fraud when they were just calling you a good guy, and they use the same picture, and then they act like you're a criminal when your crime is not fraud at all. And they do dirty. That does make the public, that does create a negative public image against me. That makes a image where you can't defend yourself. That does dirty, and it does damage my defense. My defense is damaged by that internet news article saying that I have 51 counts of fraud. In the public's mind, they have etched in fraud with my name. They have damaged me as a person, and for that they need to pay. For the courts, the fact that the prosecutor was the same attorney involved in my court case that was civil for several years, and does know my genealogy, my history, the case law, and the laws, the statutes, the Constitution, which protects our rights as Accomack Indians. He's very familiar with it. He was on the defense of the civil case for years. So for him to act like he doesn't know the rights of the Accomack Indians and that his jurisdiction is not proper, he does commit commit a crime. He has actually imprisoned me under the color of law. He has committed a crime. He is corrupt, and that's a shame. And if Jack Thornton III happens to be your relative or your friend, shame on him. Shame on him. If he's your classmate, if you went to college with him, if you went to high school with him, if you went to elementary, shame on him. He sucks. Because he thinks he's protecting the people of the Commonwealth. Well, you don't have the right to protect the people of the Commonwealth, because the people of the Commonwealth are committing a crime. They are harboring stolen goods. They are harboring and holding and possessing stolen land. So you can't protect them by bullying me for claiming what is right and just. You can't bully me. You can't prosecute me to protect their interests. You're trying to scare me and to terrorize me. That is not protection of their interests. Their interest would have been to adhere to the law. When they knew that it was patented land, they should have taken heed, because that has serious repercussions. It is supreme title. When they say that there are Indian patents there, don't be like, oh, isn't that cute history? Be like, uh-oh, that means it's the Indian property. That could be a problem for my house. You were negligent on your own behalf by ignoring the law that is the patent. You don't need to be mad at the Acamax. You don't need the prosecutor to protect you. You should have done your due diligence to protect yourself. The patents have always been there. Your home hasn't. Your business hasn't. The fact that you all went forward with daggone building on patented Indian territory, that is you committing a crime against the Acamac and against your own self. If you want to be angry at yourself. If you want to be angry at the title, the title insurance people. Be angry at the real estate people. Be angry at the community that lied to you and said, oh, it's not a problem. It's old history. Oh, they're all died off. Be angry at those liars in Northampton that told you it would be okay. But don't use the courthouse to terrorize the people who are rightly claiming what is ours. Anna.